everyone, welcome back to Rachandbellacrafts. Rachel here, I hope you're all well. So we're going to do a quick video today on how to make a fold down pocket with a writing spot. But it's going to be with a slight twist today. So kind of going back to, we've been talking about using up scraps and things like that. I did share with you all about a week and a half ago, maybe 2 weeks ago, that we had managed to obtain some samples of coating materials and blind materials and stuff like that, things like this. So I'm going to show you today how I plan to utilize some of these materials as well. Basically just proving the point that we can use anything that we can get our hands on, or that we're perhaps getting rid of, recycling items. You know, very often we're throwing things out, or if you've had a floor laid and you've got a little bit of lino, because that's what this fabric here is like. It's quite almost vinyl-y on the back, but I mean, if I don't use it, this is just going to go into landfill, so we don't want that, do we? Okay, so I've got a sheet of coffee dye paper. This is nothing complicated. You don't need to have blinds or lino to do this project, by the way. You can use anything at all. But I'm just going to use those items to just demonstrate a way in which they can be used. So I've got an A4 sheet of coffee dye paper here. I have cut it in half. Here's the other half here. So there we go, that's my coffee dye paper. And I'm simply going to fold the coffee dye paper up to approximately, I would say, just over half, because you want a bit then left that's just a bit shorter than that. So again, we're not measuring anything. It's all by eye. The main thing is that it fits on a page in your journal. And then we're going to come down with the flap. So we're going to do the basic shape there of a little flap down, flip flap. I'm just going to line mine with some writing paper. So all I've done to make this beautiful sheet of writing paper is I got my photocopier. I actually photocopied this sheet of coffee dye paper, and I had a plain white notebook sheet of paper, and I photocopied that. Then I fed this back through and photocopied that on top, and that gave me this beautiful coffee dye writing paper. So easy as that, so simple. And I didn't have to print anything or mess around with Photoshop or anything like that. So nice and easy, quick job this morning. I just happened to have a really good colour bit of paper in front of me, which doesn't always happen with coffee dyeing, as you'll know. Some days they come out and they look awesome, and other days they come out and you're a bit like, yeah, that's not terribly interesting. Okay, so I'm just going to glue my sheet of writing page down inside of the original coffee dye sheet. Hopefully it'll go on fairly straight, because I don't want to take forever to do this today. Yeah, good old bone folder, flattens everything out. There we go. Okay, so I'm just going to reinforce now that fold there, and then if I've got anything that needs to just be trimmed off, I can do that now. So let's just make sure that that's in line, and bring that back down there, so that's in line. Okay, just trim that there, because that's going to annoy me otherwise. I don't know about you, but I find I can cut really comfortably with one hand on one side of the paper, but when you turn around and have to do it on the other side, it feels a bit awkward sometimes, doesn't it? I don't know if perhaps that's just me. I mean, I just ink around that edge there, just to make it look really old, because this is going in my vintage journal. So put this in your hand, just do those bits. Okay, so there we are. Oh, that looks nice, doesn't it? Look at that. All right, so that's the basic shape done. So, you know, if you didn't want to take any more from this video, that's how I'm making my little writing spot there. All right, so that's nice and easy. Half a sheet of coffee dye paper, and then I've photocopied the coffee dye paper with some lined paper, and I've now made myself a nice little journaling spot to go into the journal. But we don't want to leave it there. We want to make it a little bit more interesting than that. So I'm just going to keep that fold up there for the time being. So I started one just beforehand because I wanted to double check that the glue would hold the pocket. So this is one that I made literally about 4 minutes before I put the camera on. So the inside, I've put that in there. This is I've just used one of my digi pages, and then I have glued using Fabri-Tac this blind material on there, and which is, like I say, it's very light vinyl, and as you can see, that has stayed perfectly fine. That's not banging through the bottom, and I've been quite fierce with that. And this isn't paper, this is another piece of blind. So we can see that that's going to fix on there, so we know we're good to go with that. So I've got a second piece here. Yes, I did ink that bit there, so I'm going to do the same with this one. I'm only going to do around the one side because I will be trimming it into shape once I've glued it on. So let me just add a little bit there, and it actually inks up rather nicely too, because obviously the front is just like any other fabric. But the nice thing about this is it is quite sturdy. So when you're talking pockets, sometimes you don't want them to be too flimsy, do we? You know, if you want to be putting things in and out of there, and you want it to hold stuff. So obviously this has still got the label on the back. I'm not taking that off because I think that that adds to gosh, what's the word I'm looking for? The stability. Ah, there it is. We got there in the end. Right, so I'm just going to pop that on there a moment. Oh, probably a bit too much glue on there, but okay. So that's a note to bear. Easy on the glue, because it's going to swoosh about a little bit. So I'm just going to do that bit on that side because I wasn't quite sure where it was going to end. Right, looking for something next to me to mop up my excess glue. Okay, so let's just clean that down there a second. There we go. Okay, so that's that now glued on there, and you know, good old fabric glue, it doesn't take long. Just be wary, obviously, when you are gluing it on, we're not actually gluing the flap down to the piece behind. Sorry, that's why I was just like, don't let that stick there. No, that's fine. So that's going to dry for a couple of minutes, and then I'm going to just turn it over. And I just find with things like this, when you want it to just sit really tidily on the front, you're sometimes better off cutting it into shape in place, because you know then it's going to sit flush. There we go. So now we have a nice neat pocket. Keep that bit for later. And then obviously I didn't ink this side because I was going to cut, so I will just add a little bit of ink, and now we've got ourselves a very interesting pocket. Okay, so you think that might be enough, but let's not leave it there. So again, we're just bringing the flap down so we can see now we've got our nice fold down here. That will come up, that will come down, and I'm looking at that pocket there and I'm thinking, yeah, that's a lovely pocket, but I think we could do a bit better. So I'm going to take another piece of the blind, it's a different colour, and I'm going to make a smaller pocket, a little tuck right at the front, and then we'll have a double pocket or a double tuck, and a writing spot. Sorry, my mind went blank then. There we go. So let's just put that on there, and then for the last bit there, so we know where it sits, pop that into place, and then just fix him down. Now obviously this is oh, I'm sorry, I hope I'm in frame there. There we go. Now this is obviously a no-sew project. However, if you wanted to sew, absolutely fine, and I'm very confident that the machine will go through this. Like I say, you know, I try to do a bit of a mixture of projects that show that you don't have to use a sewing machine, because obviously not everybody's got a sewing machine, and you know, we don't like to do things that make people feel, oh, I can't do that because I haven't got any way of stitching something. But no, I think that you could do this quite happily without, but again, equally you could try it with. Now this one here, I'm going to put a bit of fabric over this one because I just think that'll be a bit different. I just move my box of lace out the way because I'm not ready for that yet. So I'm going to pop a bit of this over the front of this one, I think. Okie dokie. So let's just cut across here a second. Now this one is the second one here, obviously is going to be a lot narrower because it's meant to be a small tuck at the front. So I'm just going to knit that off there. Brilliant. I hope it's straight. Yes, it is. My goodness, that's a miracle in itself. And thankfully this comes backed with some papers, but I've left some of them on for the very reason that we may want them on here. So I'm just going to boldly now glue this to the front and hope that it works, because I haven't tried this one yet. So this is now gluing fabric, and quite thick textile as well actually, onto the vinyl blind material. Oh, there's me gloating it was straight. It's not quite straight, but okay, I'm not going to worry too much. It's just for demonstration purposes. It's not actually, it's just going to go in my journal. So I will straighten that up in a little while. But let's get it on there first. So I should have a little bit hanging over the bottom there that I can just work on that afterwards. There we go. Marvellous. So let's just take off the unwanted excess. That will make it nice and neat then on the edge. And obviously bear in mind we're going to want to be able to fold this over to open it up for the journal spot inside. So we don't want anything hanging below the bottom, do we? So just be better is nice and neat. There we are. Lovely job. Let's just move those little bits out the way. Okay, so now we have two nice little writing spots with pockets at the front. They are so cute, those pockets. And then a larger pocket behind. And then of course, this will open up then and you'll have journaling space in there. So there we go. That's the simple basics of it. I'm going to quickly just jazz mine up a little bit so that they look really nice. Okay, so that's our little pieces of ephemera done. I've finished off embellishing the front of my little flip journal spots, and I've filled them up now, lots of lovely little bits of ephemera. Put a couple of badges on there. Now I know I said it was a no-sew pocket, and it is a no-sew pocket because you don't need to sew it, but I wanted to sew it, so I've done a bit of stitching. Sorry. But yeah, I just thought it looked so much better because I use really plain paper. So whilst it can be constructed without being sewn, I just wanted to add some stitching onto it because I just think it looked really pretty. So there we go. There's your pockets there. And then you've got quite large pieces of ephemera. And then obviously you've got these little bits here. And then if you want to write on it. So what you can do with this... Oh, let me just show you that one as well. Sorry if I go waffling on. That's the other one then. I've just stuck one of our new labels on there. And I popped a little label on there. Stitched the edge in. And then that's all done then inside as well. I do think it just sets it off a bit, doesn't it? When you just go around the edge of it. So what you can do with this now... Let's put it under here. Is... You can pop that now on the centre of the page. And you can just... Sorry, my dog is having a drink behind me. Paige, you're thirsty, love. Just wait a moment while she finishes. Sorry about that. It's quite a warm day. The dog decided she was really thirsty. So, as I was saying, you can stick it onto the page and completely affix it on so that it's stuck in place, and then it'll have to be opened like this. As a journal spot, and then you can write then on the journal spot, or you can use a paper clip and affix it to the top of a page and have it as a what we call a floating pocket, which means that you can take it in and out, so you can just pop that on there like that then. Or in addition to, let me just double check I've got a tag here so I can demonstrate. I'm not sure that'll fit. Right, let's try this. What you could also do is just glue down the sides here, and you could have it as a pocket with a flip. Okay, and oh my goodness, I'm just spoiling you with ideas now, aren't I? You can stick it in the middle of the page and just stick the bottom and the top, and then you have a really cool belly band. How cool is that? Clearly not with a big oversized check in it, mine, but... And then that would then come down like that, and you'd have something behind it as well. So you would have like a journal card behind there, look, with a nice big tab on it. I think that's what I'm going to do with mine, actually. I quite like that idea. There we go. So that's our little flip down journal spot with pockets. 2 pockets, might I add. I hope you enjoyed the video, and leave us a like and a comment if you did, and we will be back with you very, very soon. Take care now. Bye bye.